Well, hello again folks. Hope yous are still all keeping well out there, and welcome to another video, hey. And as usual, if you want to bypass all this guff and get straight into the shooting, fast forward to about the 2 minute 37-second mark. Now, as the title suggests, this is the second morning that I've been up at this farm. I have shot over this farm for quite a few years, but it's mostly pest control inside the sheds with air rifles, after feral pigeons, jackdaws and so forth. Lately though, he's asked me if I could do something about the number of hooded crows about, as he's starting to get lambs with their eyes pecked out. And once you've seen part 1 to this series, you'll understand why. There was a lot of hooded crows about here. The first morning I came here, it was very successful. Probably the most successful morning I've ever had on the hooded crows. But I knew there was still more about, so I decided about a week later I would come up again. I did the same thing as before and set my hide up in among the round silage bales and covered it with a black camouflage net to help it blend in. However, this time I set my bait up, which is a rabbit with its belly split open, out in a small paddock to my left hand side, as the grass in it was a lot shorter than the other field, plus there was no sheep in it this morning. Again, the rifle that I'm using is a CZ527 Varmint, chambered in 17 Hornet, using hand loads with a 20 grain Vmax doing about 3,500 feet per second. The scope is a Meopta tactical 4-16x44, which I have mounted a Tacticam Solo and FTS unit to it to film through the scope. And the suppressor is a Wildcat Panther. It's not long until the birds start to take an interest in the dead rabbit, while a couple of geese fly overhead. The first bird down though is a magpie, which I can legally take for the protection of livestock here in Northern Ireland. But if I start shooting at every magpie that lands, it'll only tip the hooded crows off that I'm here, which might stop them from landing altogether. Three hooded crows have just landed in a tree about 30 yards in front of me. I'm starting to wonder maybe I should have brought the air gun instead. They've just dropped down onto the rabbit. This is what I've been waiting for. As you can hear, the rest of the birds are going nuts. Looks like a second bird's dropping in. Nope, it's a common buzzard, which is a bird of prey, and all birds of prey in the UK are protected under law, so that's a big no-no. Doesn't look like it's staying long anyhow. Not surprising with the amount of crow activity in the area. Well, as you can see, a decent bit of time has elapsed since I got that first hooded crow, and the sheep that I thought couldn't get into the field have managed to get into the field, making it more or less impossible for a safe shot. So I decided to dander out and try and encourage the sheep to leave the field again, and then set the bird that I had shot up as a decoy. Thankfully, even with all that disturbance and the wind trying to wrap the camouflage net out round the camera, a hooded crow quietly lands into the field. That's number 2, but I know there's still more about. Not long after that last one, this fairly annoyed looking bird appears. What? Don't tell me I missed it. It's down. I've never had one do that before, but it definitely looks as if it's down and dead. Don't know what happened there. Either it was a bad shot on my part, or the little Vmax bullet didn't expand and just penciled through. Looks like we've got another greyback taking an interest in the rabbit. And it's not long before curiosity gets the better of it. Not quick enough, but it hasn't gone far. Oh, you missed it. That seems to set the rest of the birds into a bit of a tiz again. A bit of a flapper, but it's down. At this point, things had quietened down again, and there was quite a few birds lying dead all over the place, so I decided to head out and set them up as decoys. Once I was back in the hide, I decided to top the magazine up again, as, you know, you never know. I can't remember how long I had to wait, but another hooded crow, or greybacks as we call them locally, quietly dropped into the field. This one also done a bit of flapping, but it didn't really get him anywhere. This one looked promising. But then just flew off into the distance without landing. Then this one quietly flew in from the right and landed. And sort of caught me unawares as I had sort of nodded off in the hide. After a while some rooks landed in the field. Now here in Northern Ireland, our general licences allow us to take rooks and jackdaws for the protection of crops or protection of foodstuff for livestock, and they do get into the dairy behind me after the meal set out for the cattle, but they don't do any harm to the sheep or the lambs like the hooded crows and magpies, so I left them alone. Sometime after the rooks had left, another bird drifted in the wind and landed. But it was Mr. Buzzard again, which nosed around for a wee while and then left. And since things seemed to have really gone quiet at this point, I decided it was a good time to quit. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to hear me over this wind, but I'm going to call it quits. The sheep have come back into the field again and the crows seem to have lost total interest. You hear them now and again away in the distance, but that's about the height of it. So I'm getting cold, hungry, and decided to call it quits, but I think I've done better than I thought I would. I think I've got 7 down. Last time I was here I got 13, but I think the birds have started to wise up, so getting 7 I was quite chuffed at. They're strewn all over the place. I've used the dead rabbit for bait again, and I didn't bother setting out a decoy bird until I actually shot one. Then I set it up on a little wire cradle I make out of a coat hanger, make it look as if it's sitting in its own legs, and it seemed to work. I've got one over there, 2 or 3 there. The last 2 I shot I didn't bother setting up. Thought it was getting near the end of the day and didn't bother. I already had quite a few birds set up as live decoys, but as I said, I'll call it quits and head home for a nice cup of tea. Cheer bye. Well folks, that's the end of another one. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you haven't seen part 1 of this yet, it's because I'm still editing it. It's a wee bit longer than this one, but I think I took about 20 hooded crows off of this farm in about a week, so the farmer was well chuffed with me. Anyhow, until next time, take care and look after yourselves, hey.